Okay. Your avatar. I will accept an avatar. I will accept an avatar. All right. Well, welcome everyone to another businessgrants.com live session. I am your host, Ty Woods, and I am ready today. Today has been an incredible day. For starters, I have been able to help 5 nonprofits get started today. That is amazing. And we have, I think we're going to have our first founders cohort grant. We are waiting for the answer at any moment. So if I get that response, guys, that's going to be a $10,000 grant. We're going to call them live. I'm so hoping that it comes during this class because then we get to call them live to let them know that they won $10,000. Oh, please let that be the case today. That's going to make this class so much exciting, so much more exciting. All right, I am your host, Ty Woods. I have been in nonprofit growth and development for 25 years. I know, I'm only 25, but I am actually 45. I started when I was 20 years old. I know, right? It's genetics. It's genetics. But when I was 20 years old, I saw a disparity happen to me. I was having odds with my parents. I got kicked out of the house. I wanted to do my own thing. I started doing some crazy stuff as a young person, and I ended up homeless. Well, my journey as a homeless young person landed me in a homeless shelter in Hollywood, California. That homeless shelter is called Covenant House, California. To this day, I support as much as I can. Covenant House is a nonprofit organization across the country. They have shelters all across the country for teens and young adults ages 16 to 25. I found myself there needing help, needing to get back on my feet. While there, they helped me with growing my vision for my own life through life skills. I took life skills courses. I took resume building courses. And by the time I graduated from the program, which was a year and a half, by the way, not only did I have a secured, stable job, my own apartment, which they helped me get in the community, as well as stable income, but it lit a fire in me that I actually want to turn back when I get a chance. I said this, when I get a chance, I want to help someone like the way you helped me. And it stayed in my mind as I worked these odd jobs as a young adult, but I always worked for a nonprofit or education because I knew that knowledge was power, knowledge is power, and that as a nonprofit worker, as I was just a worker at the time, I knew that I was doing something for the greater good. And for some reason, like it wasn't a religious reason. I wasn't religious at the time. I didn't have like a moral compass or anything. Like I really wanted to just be a good person. I just wanted to be a good person. And that meant to me helping someone else. So when it came time for me to, and now fast forward, a few years later, I meet the man of my dreams. We get married, and he says, I want to help people. I was like, wow, so do I. Well, ladies, side note, this is why it's important to marry the person that has a similar vision and goal as you. Thankfully, I married someone with the same heart that I have for people. And so we were in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time. This is now like 2005, 2006. And we said, we don't have any money to start a nonprofit organization. So what do we do? What do we do? Okay, I want to tell you what we did. We started with what we had in the house. We had an apartment. We had some music equipment. My husband was a music producer at the time, and we started with no money. But I've created flyers with PowerPoint. I did not have any skills in graphic designing, but I just knew I wanted to help the youth. The youth were like, I feel like when I was a teen, that was when things started to change for me. My trajectory was being shaped by the decisions that I was making as a teenager. And you guys have seen that. How many of you guys see teenagers make some dumb choices? And as a result, their entire future has been thrown off by either by 10, 15 years or completely thrown off. You've seen it. I've seen it too. And as a result, I wanted to do something. If I can stop that bad decision from happening at 15, 16, 17, 18, then maybe I can get them on a course to go to college or a career, and just maybe I can get them on the right track to success. And that's what we did. I first started out passing flyers at the bus stops for the high school buses. I do not recommend that, guys. If there are any men in this room, I do not recommend you going to the bus stops passing out flyers. That was a dumb choice, but because at the time I was 20 something, but I looked their age, it didn't look bad for me to do it. But even my husband was like, nope, you pass the flyers out. So we did. And the first day, 3 teenagers showed up. We were like, wow, oh, wait, we got some kids. Come on in. Are you guys hungry? Now, what do you think teenagers are going to say if they're hungry? They're always hungry. Anybody got teens in the house? Oh my gosh, they are like bottomless pits, right? So we started feeding them. And what happened next completely changed our entire future trajectory to this day. My husband and I that day started a fire that activated us to start our own nonprofit organization. And in 2008, we started Opportunity Knocks in Georgia. And we just said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with no money? So we just kept using what we had and asking for volunteers, asking for donors, asking for donations. And then we heard about grants. We were like, how do you get a grant? So I started diving into the knowledge of how to get a grant. And 2-3 years go by, and all of a sudden, we just exploded with thousands of students coming through our program at various schools because we landed our first government contract. And from there, we have served more than 200,000 students since 2008. And we have raised millions of dollars since 2008. It started because we started. We are where we are today because we started. Now, I want to show you something. I want to show you a very interesting, I'm gonna share. I want to share something with you. How many of you guys are inspired right now? I know that there are so many reasons why a lot of us don't get started. And I'm going to share some of those reasons. So here's the mist. Once I get my 501c3, I'm going to win grants and contracts. How many of you heard that? Raise your hand. How many of you have ever heard that? I have heard that. As a matter of fact, I thought that. Once I got my 501c3, I was automatically going to win grants. The answer is false. Number two, applying for a grant is easy. I don't need any guidance. How many have heard that? Well, some grants may be easy, but mine's, they weren't easy. I needed guidance. So the myth is false. Nonprofits should not make a profit. Well, I've heard this, and that is also wrong. Wait. I'm going to spend a little time on this. Then why is it called a nonprofit? It's called a nonprofit because the profits do not go to shareholders, individuals like the CEO and all of the shareholders. The profits are rolled into the mission to fund its mission. So if you do not have money left over at the end of the year, then you didn't budget correctly, because January is just around the corner. So it's impossible for you to say, I need to spend all the money by December 31st and then have a fresh pile of money on January 1st. You actually need to have surplus. As a matter of fact, I always recommend that nonprofits build up their bank accounts for at least 1 year's worth of operating expenses. But that's not being taught because it's a myth, and the myths are sometimes getting fueled by misinformation. I'm here to tell you that yes, you can generate a profit, but that profit does roll back into your mission. Okay? I can grow a nonprofit with just a passion for my mission. I have a passion. As you can see, I'm passionate about youth. Youth is my core. It was, well, not to say it was, but that was my core when I started. My mission today is all about small businesses. The person who has this grand idea who haven't started, and to give you the information to start. Write in the chat, activate. Activate, or say it with your mouth, activate. I'm here to activate you. I'm here to activate you. Everybody know this quote, or maybe you haven't heard it. The richest place in the world is the cemetery. Why is that, Ty? Because there are so many people who fail to activate and they die with this billion-dollar dream, this multi-million-dollar nonprofit. They could have made an impact in someone else's life, and that person could have became a multi-millionaire or billionaire. I would love to be the person who activated someone else to become a multi-millionaire, even if I never became one, even though I did. But that's because I activated. But here are some of the reasons. Well, I don't have enough cash, so they don't activate it. Well, I know I have debt. I have debt. I don't know what to do with that. So they never activate. Tens of billions of dollars of free money, your grants, you don't know how to write grants. So you just said, well, I'm not going to start a nonprofit. I don't know how to do grants. So I'm not going to start one. But the number one reason why most people don't activate is simply fear. So if I can dispel the fear, hopefully I can get you to activate. And if I can get you to activate, then the cemetery will be less rich. Years down the line. We're not saying anyone is going to end up there no time soon. But when it's time, you will not be burying millions and billions of dollars of ideas in that cemetery because you would have activated. So, I want to share this with you. The day that money found us. So The first check, $50,000. I don't know if you can see that date. Can you guys see that date? That says May 7th, 2024. That's actually my husband's birthday. What a wonderful birthday gift. That company, Genesis, by the way, you probably have seen those Genesis cars on the road. That is the Hyundai subsidiary. Well, I think there's the luxury brand. But they went on the internet searching youth arts organizations in Georgia, and we pop up at the top. One of the reasons why we pop up at the top is because we have a $10,000 a month grant from Google Ads. Now, Google Ad grant cost us $0, but it gave us $50,000. It also gave us that same year $4,000 from someone who just Googled youth organizations, and we popped up. And of course, they'll go to your website. You have to make sure you have a clean website, clean social media page. When I say clean, it means professional. And you're showing your work. It's showing you making an impact in the community. $54,000. That's just what I know about. There are donations that come through all the time that sometimes we don't know that they found us through that Google Ad grant. But I want to help you get Google Ad grant. I can help you get it guaranteed, but you need to activate. Okay. Oh. So then, right, activate. Again, the reason why I'm telling you to say it, the reason why I'm telling you, I want you to hear yourself. I want you to hear yourself. I need to activate. I need to activate. What you're doing is you're telling your subconscious so that while you're sleeping, your subconscious is saying, you need to activate. You need to activate. And it's going to push up to your frontal lobe until you make a decision. Your judgment center is going to say, now this is how my judgment center sound. Your judgment center sound different, but my judgment center sounds like this. Girl, you better activate. That's how my judgment center sound. Now your judgment center may sound like your mom. Dear, can you please activate? My mom, she's so soft-hearted and soft-spoken. She's not going to yell at me and say, you better activate, but sometimes that's what you need. Somebody to kick you in the bum. Get out there and activate and do it. So here's the question. How many of you guys want to start a nonprofit? That's what you came on here for, because there was two things in the title. It says how to start a nonprofit and get it funded. So raise your hand on the screens. Raise your hand if you want to start a nonprofit. If you have your screen on black screen, raise your hand, your virtual hand. Okay, there we go. So there's a lot of hands up. That's a lot of hands. Okay, now put the hands down. Second question, raise your hand if you actually have started a nonprofit. You probably already have the 501c3, but you really haven't raised any money for it. Is there anyone on here who have a nonprofit but haven't raised any money for it? Raise your hand. Oh, so all of you guys need to activate? Wow. There's no time like the present. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to share with you one of our affiliates with the Genesee Group. This group has secured more than $600 million worth of grant funds for their clients. Now, I am getting ready to give you guys the diamonds in this industry. But I can't continue to give you these diamonds if you don't activate. So what I want you to do, don't worry about money. How much is going to cost, Ty? How much is it going to cost? Don't worry about that, because what we're going to do is activate you. So right now I have a Google form. It doesn't ask for any money. It asks for what type of organization you want to start, or the industry, like an animal shelter or a youth organization, battered women shelter, whatever organization, type of organization you want to start. What city and state you're in. It's going to ask a few questions like that. Fill out the Google form, and that form is going to be posted right now. But there are some of you who said, Ty, I don't need to, I already know that I want to start. I don't need to be sold. I'm already sold. So the program is $9,500. But when I said don't worry about money, this is why. So for 8 weeks, we take you through, we're getting your nonprofit started, which is your 501c3. But this is the Founders Academy. What you don't know is that we will help you land your first few grants. Now, your grants are what's going to generate money for you. Also, it's going to get you your first clients that you serve. Now you're going to start serving your clients. Now, there's certain things that we have to pay for. Like, we have your website created. We do that. We get your logos. So when I say we do everything for you, that's why it's $9,500. However, because you guys showed up, because I literally had 102 people registered for this course, and only 18 of you showed up, 19, 20, and some people, maybe, I don't know, the cost dropped or something, but out of 102 people that registered for the course, 20 people showed up on time. And so what does that say about you? That says, number one, you are serious about activating. Like, this is not something that you are just twirling around in your head. Someone signed up and they said, this will be a good class to take, sign up. Because it's free, I'll show up if I want to. But you guys took this serious, which is why I'm going to discount my $9,500 down half off. I'm going to discount it half off. So I just posted a link in the chat. It says Dev 180 product, grant ready, biz in a box. We do everything for you to start your nonprofit. All you have to do is show up to the weekly classes. By the way, so we meet weekly, but as a group, we meet every other week. And then the other week we meet one-on-one. You might meet with me, or you might meet with one of our advisors, depending on, like, if you are going to go into the government contracting space. Some of you guys, like, for example, if you're in senior services, so there are government contracts that we will help you try to navigate that space, because there's a huge contract space for senior services. So type in the chat, if you know the industry you want to go into, type in the chat what industry. So that might mean, I want to, in the youth, in the arts, education, senior services, small businesses, animal rights, climate, environment. What is your passion for right now? Can you type it in the chat? Janine, we're going to do let's do a live. Janine is our assistant, just in case you're wondering why I'm calling somebody out. We're going to do a live grant search too for someone in here, just so they can see. When you post, by the way, when you post the industry, put your city and state as well. So animal rights, Los Angeles, California. That's going to help us. I want you to see what type of money is out there for causes that you care about. we're going to show you that live today. Okay. We also have dozens of people in the nonprofit founders CEO Academy, or we call it a society. Once you graduate the program and you're part of the society, only nonprofit founders are in it, or CEOs. If let's say you're not the founder, but you actually lead it, it's only for you. It's not, you can't be in there if you are an employee, an assistant, a program person. It's only high level founders and CEOs. The reason why this is for you is because I remember what it was like when I needed help and I needed to talk to somebody, and I didn't need to talk to somebody who worked for me. I needed to talk to somebody about cash flow issues. Well, what do you guys do for cash flow issues? Oh, okay. I didn't think of that. Those are the type of conversations that we have in CEO Society. That's why we meet as a group every other week. And by the end of you guys are going to end up becoming good friends. And now we have two of the organizations in our current cohort. They're getting ready. They co-wrote a grant that I'm pretty sure they're going to win, because now, by the way, myself and as well as the person that's coming up, we are all grant judges. We've been grant analyzers, so we can tell you whether or not the grant has a strong case of winning. But sometimes you just need a second set of eyes to look at your grant. All right. So we have quite a few. We have quite a few services and different. Oh, guys, you guys calling from all across the country. Yay. All right, there are more people on the call. I sure would like to know where you're from and what your cause is. That will really be helpful and for us to know. All right. So what we are going to do is we're going to post a form. The form here is an application form. No payment is required. As you can see that, just scroll up a little bit, you see a check mark. Application form, no payment required. Please fill that out if you are ready to start, activate, and we will work with whatever we need to get you started. I do not believe that. Now, of course, because you guys fill this out, that means that you're going to qualify for the rate that I gave today. Those people who did not show, so what's going to happen is you guys are going to see an email that go out to all the people who register for this class. That email is going to say, something along the lines of, thank you for attending or for signing up. If you're interested in learning more about the Nonprofit Founders Academy and the CEO Society, sign up here, and it's going to say 9,500. You guys are only going to see this amount. So by you filling out this application, so even if you don't start with this cohort that starts in April, you could start in July or you could start in October. So we do it four cohorts, 4 quarters, and it's because it takes time to build this out. And we want to make sure we give all of the attention to you guys and building out those relationships. It's all about partnerships and relationships with government entities and corporations. All right. So now it is 1:30. I am good for time. I'm going to turn this over to the master of grants and foundation grants specifically. I'm going to turn this over to Miss Iris with the Genesee Group. Stop sharing this. All right, Iris, you have the.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's beautiful to see everyone here, and I am excited because everyone does not have a heart for passion in nonprofit. Everybody does not have that empathy and that compassion button to want to start a nonprofit and to engage and to support communities, whatever space you're in. And I was looking through the chat and I was so inspired by um, the diverse type of institutions and passions that you all have, because they're all very, very key and they are needed. And with our generations growing older, I saw someone was looking for helping seniors and someone was helping individuals with cancer. Those needs are growing day by day, and they are growing faster than the nonprofit industry. And the reason why I say nonprofit industry is because nonprofit work is it is an industry. Philanthropy is an industry. It is a business. It is tax exempt. There are other regulations that may guide it, but a nonprofit is a business. And you need to be aware of where you can get funding, how you can get funding, what are those regulations for those funding. Sometimes, I love one of the things that Ty was saying, because all money, I teach a class that says all money is not good money. So you do need guidance and help and support, especially as you're starting, as to what grants are right fits for you, what grants have right capacity for you. And then when you get the funding, what does that deliverable look like? How do you meet those deliverables for the nonprofit so that you can grow, you can be successful? Because attached to you are lives. Attached to you are programs and needs and resources and support that people will become dependent upon to help them in life, regardless of what age they're at. So I want to thank all of you for having the courage to show up when a lot of people looked at it and passed it by, or looked at this opportunity and checked it off but didn't show up. You're here, and that says a lot about you being here. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me, and then I'm going to start this part of the presentation. My name is Iris Ivana Grant. I'm a native New Yorker. Spent most of my formative years raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and I am now in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the founder and CEO of a company called the Genesi Group. We're an S Corp. And we also have Genesi Group Philanthropies, which is a nonprofit instruction and coaching group. And so I have been in nonprofit industry for almost 20 years, but I'm as young as Ty. I'm only 25, so I was a prodigy in starting at the early age of 5. Um, I have been in this for a while. I was 10 years in corporate prior to nonprofit. And there were so many things that just did not set right with me in corporate. I gave a lot more help out than what I probably was supposed to in a corporate position. And so I started looking at, wow, there's something else. There's something that is missing. I want to give. I want to do more for my fellow citizens. And I didn't know what that was, but I knew that it was not happening. It was not fulfilling for me in my corporate career. And so I moved over in 2005 into the nonprofit space. I started at the base, um, really started at the base, learned, worked my way up through, and ended up in fundraising. Became a professionally trained fundraiser and moved into corporate partnerships as my specialty, and then strategic philanthropy, which is what my company is based on now. And so philanthropy deals with very high level net worth individuals and funding opportunities. And what does that look like strategically when a nonprofit wants to be able to scale and build capacity? And so that is the work that I do. I think I hit the one of the heights in my career during COVID. That was an extremely unusual time for the globe, for the world, and it impacted philanthropic space and the nonprofit industry tremendously. It was unprecedented, the good and the bad that we experienced in the industry. And that was at the height of a lot of campaigns and work that I was doing. And I noticed how many nonprofits were closing down every day. They didn't have enough volunteers. As you remember, during the pandemic, we weren't able to really get out and engage. Um, Grant models were changing, financial models were changing, giving for donors was changing. All of those things impacted the nonprofit space. And so it became imperative on us that as people are coming into the industry, and it is an industry, that they have the right tools that they need to be able to have a sustainable nonprofit, regardless of what kind of fluctuations happen in society and happen in our world. The needs are always going to be there. People are always going to have a need, and we're always going to need people that want to help and have the passion to support and help people find resources and provide resources for people who will have those needs. So I am excited to have you all here today. I am going to share my screen with you all. And if anyone has a problem seeing it, please let me know. Let me see. But I want to talk just a little bit about as we're talking about grants, and we're talking about you starting your nonprofit. I want to talk a little bit about what the framing future of impact looks like, and the economics of bridging the gaps. Grants are such a fundamental, important piece of your nonprofit. It's very important. There are different types of funding that can be provided, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But grants, for when you're starting out, grants are very, very important, and it is very important for you to understand um, the 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 different types of grants or the verticals of grants, which you'll get all of that information and training in the classes with Ty, and in the coaching. But it's really important for you to know what's happening in the nonprofit world right now. And so one of the things I just want to let me see if I can just change my view here for a second. One of the things I want to present to you is the urgency of now. The need right now for people when we're talking about homelessness, when we're talking about children and education, we're talking about poverty lines, we're talking about demographics changing. Seniors, right now, we are facing what they're calling the senior tsunami or the silver tsunami. We will have more seniors, more individuals moving into a retirement age between now and the year 2030 than we've ever had before. Over 50% of the world's population will enter in the age span between 60 and 70 years old. That equals 9.2% of the world living in extreme poverty. That means that's 9.2% of the people that leave the workforce in some way or other, whether they're prepared or not, um, and whether they know what life circumstances might hit them. I know quite a few seniors right now who are having to raise their grandchildren, almost starting life over, right? And so 9.2% of the world's population, that's 689 million people, by 2030 will be living in extreme poverty. Those are services that people will need to support them, to help them get from one stage of life to the next stage of life. And that expanded need in the community and nonprofit is increasing. And so as you are starting your nonprofit, there's a couple of things I like to talk about that I want you to think about because there is a specific DNA with nonprofit work. There's corporate citizenship, which often we hear as corporate social responsibility. That comes through their HR groups, their marketing groups. A lot of corporations have deemed certain dollars that go towards supporting a nonprofit partner that has like synergy with them. There is always the grant piece, which is the main piece. That's why I have that up at the top. There are private and there are public grants. So there's grants that are funded by foundations, by private individuals, and there are grants that are uh, provided by other businesses, and then there are grants that are provided by the state or federal areas. Then there is what we call philanthropy. And I like to democratize this word a lot because philanthropy really can be anyone. It is truly the love for humanity. That is what its original Greek term means, that it is the love for humanity. So the things that you do because of your heart and your passion towards your fellow mankind. And the classation of that is that often there's individuals that have a high net worth, they or a specific community has a high net worth, and then they also not only give in donations and contributions and volunteerism, but they also give through their family offices or their private family foundations. And then you have the social capital. This is critical. This is opposite of what you see for the grants. That's social capital, board, and community. That is something that, as you're starting your nonprofit, that's going to be really, really key. You need to understand how important your board is. You need to understand the purpose of the board, and the board is provides governance, and it also provides fiduciary responsibilities. Who you select as the founder of a nonprofit in your board before you even start your application is very, very important. This is why classes are important. This is why having a coach or a counselor, because a lot of times people start, most of the time, let me back up, most of the time, people start their nonprofit because they have a passion work, right? But you also need to know how to protect the passion work that you're doing. And your board is a part of that. The community that you will be servicing and the community that you will engage is really, really important. So you'll see part of your DNA of your nonprofit that you're wanting to start and that you're considering starting is really the beginning key pieces is going to be a grant, and then what are you looking for in social capital? What are you going to need to help you in the governance of that? And that governance is going to be important when you have your deliverables in your grant. Then off on the side, you see the data and tech. That's going to be really important in your grants. Your community engagement. And community engagement is really interesting because it's always intangibles. I use Johnny as an example. Johnny goes to school and you start a nonprofit because you want to provide Johnny with apples, fresh apples, so that he can have clarity and he can have a fresh, healthy snack. But that has intangible components to it because how Johnny does in that class, because you give him an apple, is something that's phenomenal, right? But you have to be able to show the tangibility of that. And a lot of times, nonprofits tell the great story. They forget about all the other key components that are important to the sustainability of their nonprofit. And that is also the shared education and resources. So there's another piece that I want you to think about too in terms of your nonprofit is return on investment. And Ty said something that was so, so key. There are so many um, untruths about what nonprofit business is and how it's run and how it's regulated. And there are key things that you need. You need to understand the financial instruments. You need to understand um, taxes and audits. You need to understand who are your stakeholders, which is your board, right? Your partners. Who's the stakeholder in the funder in the grant? And it's your mission, and you've got 80% of your mission that you're focusing on. You've got 90% of the community that you serve that you're focusing on. And then you've got this big number of at least 67% of your time is focusing on your stakeholders. Who are those funders? Who are those individuals or those organizations that you would have synergies with, that they would award you funding for you to activate and do what you need to do in the community to support people and to support the community that you care about, because you're starting your nonprofit because you have a passion, you have a need to be fulfilled and to fulfill and help others. And so that's our collective human experience, right? So I want to give you some just basic things of what I want you to think about when you're thinking about uh, starting a nonprofit. And most founders, they they know they have a need to help. They have a desire to help. They know that there is a need, but there's so many things that they have to balance in that. And one of the things, you'll see my cursor go over here and it says, we do not have resources for that. That I don't know too many nonprofits that start that have all the resources that they need, even at the highest levels. They all look for some type of granting, some type of donor base to help support and get alignment of how they're having to engage. And so it's very important that at beginning stages that you're thinking about not just the mission and who is going to need your services and what kind of services you're going to have, but who are you going to partner with? Where are you going to learn the information that you need to know? Because nonprofit business, it is a business with tax exempt status. And so you do need to have revenue streams. You do need to have sustainable solutions for your nonprofit. It is very important. Collaboration is very important. Planning, strategic planning, thinking things through is very, very important at this initial stage, and it will continue on through the life of your nonprofit. So I want to talk just for a quick second. I'm not going to because the majority of the people are new to this process. But one of the things I do want to mention, and I think I would be in a failed space to not mention this to you, is that as we are in transition, every single election year, every single year that there's something major that happens, something like not as major as the pandemic, but something that happens with our economy, with our stock market. It always shifts a little bit in the market. Nonprofit is always impacted because the people that you serve are impacted. The communities that you live in are impacted. And so typically you see this person in the middle, and then everything in this first example, everything floats around it, the mechanics of it, the architecture of it, the global perspective, the ideas, and the funding. And we are shifting to a different model where you're going to have multiple spaces that you think about how you partner, and they may not be cyclical, right? But who can I partner with? If I provide Johnny with an apple for his lunch at school, I need to think about how I'm going to partner with the school. I need to think about how I'm going to partner with the local grocery store that provides the apples, or the local farmer that provides the apples. You have to really think through your connective tissues. Okay. And it may not be a perfect circular space, but you really do need to think about how does this impact the world that I am entering in with my passions to support. What are the pieces that I need? I need a website. I need marketing materials. How am I going to let people know that my services are available? How am I going to be able to connect with other professionals that can help bring in different pieces? And all of these things are critical. All these things that I'm mentioning today, they are critical for when you start thinking about grants and looking at synergy of what grants are not only available but will cover the cost that you need, that will ask you for partnerships. Some grants will ask you, well, what kind of partners are you looking for? What are you thinking about? What have you done? What have you not done? And so all of those things, you're creating um, a business of passion. You're creating a business that will meet the social needs and concerns of our fellow citizens. So I wanted to present that with you all today because I wanted you to know and understand the importance of you being here. The how you activate your passion, how you activate the work that you want to do. There's critical thinking points in that beginning that you're going to need not only for your application for your 501(c)(3). You're going to need to understand that because you're going to have to put those things in your application that you are guided by, you are held by your bylaws and by how your governance pieces. Those things you have to create before you put in your application, right? What is your mission? What is your values? What are your core values? And it is also very important to know, man, how am I going to be able to fund the programs? This is what I want to do. I want to give um, beautiful little goodie bags to new moms. What hospitals would I connect with? What would go in the goodie bag? And is that I will tell you, I've been in this business for 20 years and I have seen funders, incredible funders, start funding out of their own pocket because they want to provide things, but they didn't have all of the information, all of the coaching, all of the instruction needed to know that you don't always have to do that. Right. And so, how do you do that? Remember, guys, this is a business. It is a business. You're going to have audits, you're going to have finances, you got a board. And so, although there is that passion work, there's a lot of information that people need to understand. And there's a lot of misinformation as well. Because in order for sustainability, you are going to need to know those financial tools that will help you in a moment of crisis. Okay. During the pandemic, there were 200 nonprofits that closed a day by the time we hit the sixth and the seventh month. Not because they didn't do great work, not because they weren't needed, but because of the unusual circumstances and because they had not properly planned and been able to look for grants, look for funding, look for partners. They were not able to endure that hard time. And unfortunately, what happens is that hard time is people connected to it. So it's really important that when you have your passion, think through your passion because you're an unusual individual. Everybody does not have a passion and a heart to help. I wish to God they did to help someone else. Everybody doesn't have that passion. But because you have that passion, and it's just like Ty said, to activate. You're activating your passion. That I believe that when you have something that you're trying to find that purpose, that fulfillment, that it's your destiny to fulfill that, whatever that comes from, whether it's from your own personal experience or your experience with a family member or a neighbor, something moves you to have compassion and empathy and having enough that you want to engage, be an available resource for other individuals to help them with life's challenges. And that takes a special type of person. So we want you to be paired and garner as much strength as you can and resources and knowledge to understand that as you're going through your initial processes, you're far ahead of a lot of people because you've gained the knowledge to know and you're getting help as to how you can secure funding for your nonprofit. So I am going to stop there. And I know Ty wanted to do, I'll turn it back over to Ty because I know she wanted to have opportunity for some Q&A. But I am
Yes.
super excited that all of you are here today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness, you guys are getting the gold and the diamonds today. Listen, I want to answer your question. We want to answer your questions. Both Iris and I are both seasoned grant writers, grant professionals, nonprofit professionals, and I want to make sure that we answer your questions. So, Paige, you are a VIP, so you get to answer your question, ask your question first. We have a few minutes left of the class, and if there's any time left over, I'll go over probably like 5 minutes over. But if anybody else have any questions, go ahead. But Paige, do you have a question?
Mine is kind of generic. Mine is I don't know how to get started. Um, who to go to if I can do the forms myself to actually start the 501c3. And this is something I've wanted to do for over a decade. And yeah, I've had the name
Wow.
too for 5 years, I think. But I, yeah, I need help getting started, getting legal.
Yes,
I've
yes.
gone ahead and just done some rooms and some things for people going through cancer or Parkinson's or hard times in their lives. I've done rooms for them or quilts or
Oh,
uh,
wow.
just all kinds of different things. I'm an artist.
Um, I have something in my home. So I want you to look up two organizations I want you to look up. Um, okay, so the big one is Make a Wish. Mhm.
Yes.
Make a Wish. The second one is oh my gosh. Okay, so in 2018, my husband and I experienced a child loss at birth. And it was probably, I think that was probably the lowest time of my life. because we had been married for, at that time, 14, 13 years. And we had our son that we adopted, but we had never conceived. And then told us we weren't be able to conceive, and then we conceived, and then we lost the baby after 6 months. So, I mean, we had to deliver a baby. And so there was an organization that came in, and they brought me a blanket, a hand quilted blanket with a teddy bear that would have been the baby's teddy bear. And I literally have, it's downstairs. It's downstairs. I literally have it to this day. That was in 2018. You just don't know how much that means to someone during a time of crisis. And that organization had a partnership with the hospital. Okay. So whenever a baby loss occurred, they notified the organization, and the organization sent over this kit. It was a special kit. In the kit, it had a very lovely handwritten letter expressing condolences and just beautiful words. And of course, a hand quilted, well, at least they said it was, I think it was, and the teddy bear. And to this day, so I don't know if my baby will pop in here, but during the pandemic, when everything slowed down, my body decided it was ready to have a baby. I think I was just under so much pressure and stress. I was running an organization at the time by myself, and I was doing everything on my own. But during the pandemic, my body was, the first time it was slow, that it slowed down because we won a $1.5 million grant, and I didn't have to hustle anymore. And that was when I got pregnant again, and I conceived. And I have, guys, I am in my mid-40s, and I have a 2.5-year-old running around here somewhere. Literally, my sister has a grandchild on the way. And I have a child that just was born. So that's my testimony. But I wanted to share that with you because I don't want you to say, well, it's this little blank, it's this little. No, you don't understand how that little thing could be something big to somebody in the time when they're going through. Okay, so I want to encourage you with that first. And when you said 10 years, remember how I said how my avatar sounds in my head? That's what went on. Girl, did she just say 10 years? I said, yes, she did. She did. Yeah. Okay, there is not going to be another 10 years that go by. There is not going to be another 10 years that go by. There are some people out there who need what you have. And the gift is that gift of compassion. When it seems like, and some people, I have my husband at that time, but there are some people going through this alone during these times of these diagnoses. And your gift, and of course, a partnership with the hospital would be a huge thing for you. So remember, I was talking about when people go through the Founders Academy, we do help them get some grants, but also sometimes it's a contract, because things like this where you have actually a product, I say product with quotes because you're not selling the product per se. It's just that you have a product that a company or corporation will need, and that corporation will be hospitals and labs and diagnosis centers. I even could connect you with, so like Diabetes Association, one of my closest friends is the president. It's just something, there's the things that when you are a part of a high level, it just, people know high level people. High level people, right? So yes, you are introduced to other people who are in other industries who may need what you have.
Would you like me to bring you down some cake, Dan?
Oh, see, someone here can bake. Who's that? You got somebody who can bake? We got some cookers in here. You can partner. What I love about our cohorts. Now I'm selling you hard, but I'm not, because at the end of the day, I just need you to start. And you can start by going on your secretary, just giving you just practical, like if you want to do it yourself, you probably need like $500 to get started, which is what you pay to the agency. But when you do the Founders Academy and you pay that one time, we do everything. That's why it costs so much, because there are fees that we pay. We pay the state, we pay the IRS, we pay those fees out of that money, as well as help you get started, or our team help you get started. That's why you guys don't understand how low $5,000 is, when you know how much work we put into it, as well as how much you're going to get out of it, outside of the grants that we can guarantee that you can get. Also, partnerships that we're going to help you get with your local, banks, food banks, and all these other places that you get partnerships with. But also, guys, the people in the cohort, they're starting to form their own bond. And what's happening is, even though, like, I forget, there's a organization that's in Cleveland, Ohio, and there's one here in Georgia. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So the organization that's in Cleveland, they want to do a summer camp. Well, we already do summer camps. And so I asked them, hey, if I get a grant for Cleveland, would you want us to partner with you, and we just go half with you guys, give you half of the grant, and provide the actual format of what to do with a summer camp? Because he came on the call and he said, hey, I really don't know how to put on a summer camp. I was like, been putting on summer camps for the last 19 years. I can do it in my sleep. I literally can. And I can do a summer camp in multiple counties for thousands of students in my sleep, because that's what I do on a larger level with the organization that I started. So he was like, whoa. I sent over our templates, what we use. I sent it over to him. I said, just change your name out. He didn't have to create anything. Now they got a summer camp that they're going to get ready to start in June, and he already have the template. All I have to do is help him with the curriculum. And he has a nutshell how to do it, but he doesn't know how to use ChatGPT. So now we're doing a whole nother session on his 101 on how to use ChatGPT to build out your program curriculum. And his mind's been blown away. Wait, ChatGPT can build out your curriculum? Yep, let me show you how to do it. And he had a curriculum.
I'm sorry, is there a list of what all is offered for that $5,000?
Oh, yes. So when you click on the link,
Janine, I filled out the form.
Oh, the form, yes. The other link that she had on here that said Dev 180. Janine, post the link to Dev 180. Because there's a business box that says everything that includes, and I'm going to put it on the screen real quick. I think it does help so you guys can see why it's like tight. My team told me not to do it at this price because I didn't make any money last cohort. It was like $500. And they was like, but I said, trust me when I tell you that these nonprofits that's coming out of this program, when they're successful, they're going to look back and they're going to say, okay, I'm going to give my reviews, and their reviews is what's going to push everybody else in. And that's what we did. And so look at my screen, guys. All right, so your 501c3 nonprofit, guaranteed approval, which means the IRS do reject 501c3s. Why? Because you didn't fill it out correctly. So you just have to know how to fill it out, how to answer the questions. So we do the 501c3 setup. If you're an existing nonprofit, we do the foundations. So sometimes as a nonprofit, some people do not have bylaws. That's the governance stuff. Bylaws think about bylaws like the Constitution. It's the Constitution that governs your nonprofit. So a lot of people don't know that they need bylaws. And in some cases, when you apply for some grants, they will ask you to upload your bylaws. Well, guess what? We have a template library. We have a resource library. In that resource library, I want to show you. I'll show you that next. We help with grant submission, access to an exclusive grant database, which is businessgrants.com. Needs assessment and grant research. We help you with 4 grant submissions. So over the course of your time, you will have 4 grants submitted, and we will do them for you. Letter of intent. So you're going to get your this letter of intent. What they're doing now in the cohort that's going on right now, they're using a letter of intent to like walk it into different stores. They're walking them in and saying, "Hey, can I speak to the general manager or the manager store?" And then they're handing over the letter and they say, "Hey, I would like to share some information with you about our organization and how you can support." And that's the letter that you're handing them. And they could say, I have some people that said, "Hey, we walked out with a $50 gift card." I said, "Well, that's $50 more than what you had before," right? So sometimes you'll get something from it, sometimes you won't, but at least they'll know who you are. Custom proposal writing comes out of that. Also, your custom budget development. So we work on that on your one-on-ones. Marketing. So once your website is set up, then your Google ad, we apply for the Google ad grant for you, and then work with the Google ad specialist to get your ad spend up to the 10,000 a month. I'm telling you, once they get your ads up there, people are going to find out about you automatically. There's a grant for Canva. How many of you guys use Canva? There's a grant for Canva that helps you keep if you want to like just make your own flyers and stuff like that, there's a grant for that. Once you get your 501c3, you can get it, that particular grant. Other product grants like QuickBooks for your accounting software, Adobe Pro, that some of you guys use Adobe anyway, PDFs, you can create your own PDFs, or you could do DocuSign instead of DocuSign. There's a grant for that. Like, what? This stuff already used. There's a grant for almost everything that you use. So products to support. And then on your biweekly CEO strategy meetings where you will meet with myself or Iris or whoever is on our team who was going to work with you, at the end of the day, you need someone who's been a CEO to guide you as a CEO. I really don't think that you guys, wherever you go, you need education. Whoever you sign up with, guys, make sure they've done what you're trying to do. And verify it. And I can show you how to verify it. Now, you ever hear the young people say, "Show me the receipts"? That's what the young people say, right? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of receipts, but I'm going to show you a way that you can verify a particular nonprofit organization and how much they made. There's an organization called GuideStar. They track all of the nonprofit organizations in the country. I had GuideStar opened and now I don't see it. Okay, well, we're going to go just open up another tab here. All right, take a look at this, guidestar.org. You should see it on my screen, right? You see it on my screen? So whenever you want to verify if a person has a nonprofit organization or if their nonprofit organization is valid, like sometimes they had one and now it's not valid anymore, you can go to GuideStar for free. You can register for free, I should say. And wait, I'm gonna have to log in because it won't show anything if I'm not logged in. This is very important information. You should be able to see this screen now. All right, I'm logged in. So what I'm doing is typing in the organization that I founded. Now, by the way, I am no longer the CEO. I stepped down to have a baby, and I decided not to go back. And so the board appointed a new CEO. By the way, I created an organization who is now no longer sustained by me. That's called does anybody know what that's called? Succession plan. A succession plan is what you ultimately want to have in place. Unless you want to run, there are some people who run a nonprofit until they die. That's okay. And that's okay. As you can see, we are gold members of GuideStar. That shows you that we keep our stuff up to date, our gross receipts, about $1 million. So this is verified. How do they verify it? Through filed tax returns. So you can click on the organization, you can get information about the organization, and then you can do a charity check. You see that? Check mark. IRS check mark, March 10th. That's the last time they did a verification. And they will do a charity check report. You want that charity check report. All of these 99, this is the tax returns that we file every year. And it shows you, as you can see, I'm no longer the CEO. The board voted my husband as the CEO, who was actually working as the director of operations during the time I was the CEO. Now, we worked well together. Some of you guys cannot work with your spouse. Hands up if you cannot work with your spouse. I am not the one to try to push the whole family business narrative, because some families just cannot work together. Fortunately for us, we are really, really good working together. We work really well together. All right. So this is GuideStar. This is how you verify an organization. So this is just information. Now I'm showing you now where you can go. Secretary of State. Where are you located, Paige? What state?
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'll be in Tennessee tomorrow, actually, Gatlinburg. I'm speaking at a women's retreat.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'll be in Tennessee tomorrow and Friday.
And I used to live in Atlanta.
So first thing you would do, and this is what you guys can do when you are just trying to get started and you don't have a whole lot of money to pay for a program. But like I said, I told people, whoever wants to, if you paid for VIP for this session, I will apply that as a credit towards your package. Okay. And you can start with where you are. If you said, Ty, I only have $500 and I can start with that, but I just need for you to start. Let's say you want to just do it on your own. I'm going to show you. And so you can file new business online, charity and business filing system. As you can see, you have to file it as a charity. So you can actually file a complaint on the charity. Let's say you found out that somebody was misusing their charity for personal gain or for some other misuse, you can actually file a complaint with the Secretary of State. But you have to log in because they have a login system. But it's the same way. So if you have an LLC, it's the same way, except you don't select LLC, you'll select nonprofit charity, or it might say nonprofit corporation or charity corporation, depending on what state. I've done it for quite a few states, but not Tennessee. So once you get your state approved, then you'll just go over to IRS and file for an EIN number. Apply for EIN. As you can see, I search that very often. So once you apply for the EIN, it's important that you do this part first. You're going to apply for EIN, that's here. By the way, guys, I am on irs.gov. Make sure that you are on irs.gov because there are websites who will charge you to apply for an EIN number. It is free. An EIN is free. Now, the Secretary of State is not free. The price range between $100 to $300 depending on the state, and you will have to take that information, apply for an EIN number here. Once you go through this process, at the end, it's going to give you your EIN number. Download it immediately because they do not mail it out to you. And if you don't download it immediately, what I did and what I do when my clients is once it shows up on the screen, I take a picture of it really quickly and I download it. Because that has happened to me once where I got to the end of the screen and I was about to download it and my computer died like right then and there and it lost the page and I had to call and ask for them to mail it and it took 3 weeks to come. So I didn't even know what the number was. So we cannot apply for a tax exemption, which is the next step. So once you get that number, that's the number that you're going to get exempt. So you go back to, you can Google it or you go back to the IRS homepage, but it's easier for me to Google it. Apply for, no, you're going to type in 990 in IRS. That's the form. To apply for the 990N, you're going to go down where you see the IRS logo. Click there. Scroll down. How do I file? It tells you everything you need to know. By the way, you have to have a ID.me or a login.gov account. So most of you guys have that. If you have had to buy a passport or like do any type of government business, you have an ID.me or login.gov. So if you don't, now's the time to do it because you won't be able to apply for it without it. It's going to take you down to form 990N for postcard, e-postcard, electronic filing there, and it'll give you all the information on how to apply. There is an electronic filing system, and it tells you how to access that, okay? So that's in a nutshell. You will have your 501c3 within about, well, if you did it the right way, you should have it within 30 to 45 days. If you did not do it the right way, tack on a couple months of that because now they got to go back, assign it to someone to look over it again and make sure that you did it the right way. So that's why it's important that you work with somebody on this. You can read the instructions, but honestly, it's just best to work with somebody with this. Now, if you say type, just set up the nonprofit and then we can take it from there. We'll do everything on our own. That's okay too. We do set up nonprofits for $1,500 flat fee, and we'll do everything for you. Just this part, but as you can see, just for like a little bit more, you'll end up in a founder society, and boom, you have all of that other stuff. All right. Any other questions? So I answered your question, Paige, right? I want to make sure I answered.
Wow, thank you.
Okay, Michelle. Michelle has a question.
Hello. Here I am.
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you. So I started a nonprofit in December, this past December.
Okay.
And we set up our website. Can't get the donation button working on it. What we do is collect recyclable furniture. So we're helping the environment.
Okay.
And then we give it away to people in need. So whether that be returning citizens from prison, senior citizens, mothers, single moms, dads, seniors. So we've filled up 3,400 homes already. But I have been doing this mostly out of pocket.
Out
I
of your
need some
pocket,
money.
you see?
Hello, somebody. I need some money like yesterday. So
I
like
am
2 weeks ago, I put in $500 of my own money to do 2 moves, not 2 moves, where we picked up from 4 homes and put furniture into 5 homes, from 3 homes and put furniture into 5 homes. But I can't keep doing it out of pocket. So I came on this. I need some help in getting grant money. I did fill out your form, and I don't have any more money to give. If you could help me get a grant and you could be written into the grant, great. But
so
I work every day and I have no money left to keep putting into this project.
So that's why we, in the application form, we have that section that says, have you started and how much money have you raised so far? Because we do know that there are people like you who are doing things out of pocket for their nonprofit, and that's great. What we do though, and this is why I tell people, I love it when people start like Paige. If you start with us, you're starting from scratch. You have nothing is missing. What's happening is now I have, out of the people that's in the cohort, it's 50-50. We have some people who started from scratch, and we have some people that already had existing 501c3s that was in the same exact boat like Michelle. What happens is that when we start digging deeper, the organization's foundation was not set up properly. And when we find out that the the foundation is not set up properly, that is the reason why you don't win the grants. And so we have to go.
I haven't even started applying for grants because I can't get the donation button on the website to work. And so I've been meeting all kinds of people.
Tied. They're not tied.
What do you mean what's not tied?
They're not tied. So the donation button and the grant world is not tied. The grant world is not going to go through your website. The grant world comes through applications to a philanthropic organization that wants to partner with you, and it becomes a contract that you do your service and they will give you this check. Now, the donation button is tied to the individual donor world, where you will get your supporters to go onto the website to make their either set it up for a recurring donation or you set it up to do a one-time donation. Those are your individual donors. And I will hate to say this, but your board probably don't give. Do you have a board of directors?
I do have a few people on the board and they're giving, yes.
So how much do they give?
They haven't given any money, but they've given time.
Okay.
We just started it in November. We just started it in December.
Now, that's true. Were you here earlier when I say the board that you select got to do all three? Otherwise, they become committee members. Mm-hmm. Committee members are high-level volunteers who can assist you with the execution of your operations. Mm-hmm. Board members are there for governance, time, talent, and treasure is what they're doing, all three. And so when we set up, did you see on their page, did you see board development? Board development is where we start when it's a nonprofit that comes to us with an existing nonprofit and they say they haven't raised any money. I say, show me your board list. And I can guarantee you that your board, number one, don't have board dues. Board dues is written in your bylaws. Your bylaws is your constitution. And if you're not operating by your constitution, it's going to be in disarray anyway. So what we do is that's the foundations. Your foundation, your bylaws, we go through your bylaws. We comb through it and if you don't have one, we'll set one up for you. Your bylaws is your constitution. Your board, if you don't have a board, I'll show you where you can find quality board members who are ready to work for you and donate to your organization. Yes, there are people who are actually looking for board opportunities. And I can show you where to find those people. Our board members are executives from Microsoft. We have Eli Lilly, Amazon, Google, self-employed multimillionaires, all of them know that when they come to our organization, you need to have the time, and we go through a 7-point process to even get on our board. You have to go through 7 steps, and it's about a 2-month process. We vet them so good that by the time they get on our board, either they're going to be tired of us already and like, I can't do this. Great. That's why we went through this process. We weeded out the bad ones, right? So
basically what you're telling me is I don't have to wait on having that donation button to start submitting things to grant fiduciaries.
Absolutely.
I can go ahead and start that now. So I have not done that. And again, we just
what city and state are you in, Michelle?
Detroit, Michigan. Well, yeah, South Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, that's my husband's hometown. Guess what? We have because we're there. We have a summer camp that we were looking at this summer. But nevertheless, there's funding in Detroit. We already know where the foundations are. Janine, do me a favor. Look on the grant list. Look on the grant list under Michigan and see if there's any of the foundations that says Detroit on it, and see if we can get her a grant or two. And also, we're gonna do that for if you guys paid for the upgrade, the VIP, you get the entire list, which is about 5,000 grants on there. There are people looking to give you money. Now, in Atlanta, there is a organization that I just consulted with last week. Their budget, they get $500,000 a year to do exactly what you're doing. Exactly what you're doing. On top of the
doing what I'm doing, because I haven't found anyone that's doing what we're doing.
So when you say doing,
oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Collecting recycled items.
I met with them last week. They had a building donated.
That's what I've been trying to get, because I'm paying for a storage unit, and I've been trying to get a building donated. I'm trying to get a truck in a building. So I've been renting a truck for the past several years, and we filled up almost 3,400 homes. But I've been doing this all out of pocket. There's a couple of organizations that have given money periodically, because I'm a Lions Club member and some other organizations that I'm a part of. But I just can't keep doing it out of pocket. And
wow. So we have a what is it called? Like a payment plan option. We have a payment plan option where you can sign up, you get approved for that, then we'll start without you having to, and Paige, you can do that too. You can start without having to put any cash down. Because once you get approved for that, then they'll pay us, and then you'll pay them a small amount over the course of 12 months. So I think that might be a better, like if you know you don't have a credit card, you just swipe it like that and cover it, then I would suggest that you do that. Honestly, it's under Janine. Let me see, the master grant file. It should be where you shared it with me. The master grant list in the drive.
All major credit cards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All major credit cards, and we also have a funding partner. So, a lot of people, what they do is, if you don't have it right up front, but like you have good credit, then I just connect you with the funding partner, and you can get it paid for the whole way, and they help you get additional funding, 0% interest. You don't pay no interest on it. And none of the things that you don't have to pay any interest on it. So that way you can get started. I would honestly, if you really, really want to start this program and you're like, Ty, I don't have the money right now, but I do want to start, I would still say fill out the form. Please fill out the form, because we can get you the money.
I filled out the form. I did fill out the form.
Okay, great. I want to make sure that you get in. You're the ideal candidate, Michelle. No, I'm serious. You remind me of, so we have a cohort that's going on right now, and there, one of her name's Carolyn. She's in California doing something similar, but she does a food pantry. So she collects the food from the grocery stores, and then they deliver it to people that's homebound. And she's been doing this out of pocket for years. So last year, she's
That's me. I've been doing it out of pocket for years.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I really want to dispel the myth that you have to keep sacrificing yourself, your family, and your own personal finances for the cause. There are billions of dollars, billions. Everybody say billions. There are billions of dollars that are being thrown at people like you guys because they
and I know this, but I just said, okay, how do I go after it? So I knew I had to, get the nonprofit going, get a website, a brochure. So we just started doing that in December. So it's only January, February, March, end of December. So now we've got a brochure, we got the website, and now I need some money. Well, I paid for all of that out of pocket too.
Right. So another reason why the Google ad, oh my gosh, we're 6 minutes over. So I know this is really good, right? I know guys, you guys are like sucking all of the knowledge out of me, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Wait, was this supposed to go to 3 o'clock or 2:30?
3, somebody said.
Oh.
And I didn't you sent me something, but I wasn't able to open the link, Ty. You sent something in chat, okay. But I couldn't see it.
Yeah, hold on. We're trying to get it together here.
And thank you for all that that your whole organization for what you all are doing. Thank you.
Well, we had to do what I wanted to do was create something that I wish I would have had. It took me so long to learn, years to learn some of the foundational things. There were so many gatekeepers. Nobody was telling me how to get grants funds. Someone is telling me about how to, and by the way, someone just said they're watching from Kenya. Guys, come on, this is like mind-blowing to me. I'm making a worldwide impact. I have someone from an international country on almost every live that I do. And by the way, Daniel, we have grants on our grant list for Kenya, as well as Nigeria, and there's a couple of other, there's a few of the West African countries that we have been looking for grants for, because we get so many people who are part of NGOs who want to know how to get grant funds for their NGO. So thank you so much for taking the time out to join us. I don't know what time is it? Is it 6 hours, 8 hours ahead? It's got to be late. I know it's got to be pretty late over there. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I am so grateful. Michelle, we're going to have to get you on this. We're going to have to get you in the Founders by any means necessary. We're going to get you in there because
wonderful.
Number one, you have a really good cause. You have a really good cause. I remember when we got our first apartment, we had an air mattress and a TV. And this is when I told you I was in a homeless situation. So they helped me get an apartment, but they didn't help me put no furniture in it.
Well, I have a story as well.
I have a story as well. I was so grateful for that air mattress because I had a roof over my head. So imagine if we could get you a partnership with one of the shelters that's helping the women coming out of battered women's shelter or
we do that. We've got partnerships with different organizations.
So
I had a period in my life where I was homeless, and it helped my mental stability, helped my financial, and it helped my spiritual to see, and things were given to me, furniture. So that helps you.
Do me a favor. I think we found a grant for you.
Okay.
We're about to go on a road trip, guys. Hold on. Let's see. She said there's no grants. We're going to find out. The Skillman Foundation. Let's take a look.
I've actually been wanting to target environmental organizations, because what we're doing is helping the environment as well.
Right. You want to take a different approach.
Well, no, I want to go for all of it. Skillman is great too. But environmentally, we're really helping the environment. People throw things out and they say, oh, someone's going to come pick it up. But those people that are picking it up are messing up our landfills and our waterways, because they pick it up, take it to the dump, and they get paid to do that. So we're really helping our environment and then helping communities and people within our communities. So I wanted to start going after some of the environmental companies who are huge and have those billions of dollars that you're speaking of. But just since January, like I said, I delayed myself, but you're telling me don't delay. Don't wait for that button to be, because I'm like, I can't get started because the donation button's not working.
No. And then, so what I would do, now that you have do you have PayPal?
Yes.
Okay, so create a PayPal giving fund. So PayPal and PayPal giving fund is almost, it's the same, but they have a different login. So you want to Google PayPal giving fund.
Okay.
And set up an account with PayPal giving. And you're going to create your link through PayPal giving. And it'll give you a link, and you can copy and paste that link and put it in your website, and it'll look just like a web page. And
awesome.
And there's a way around it. I know there's a way around it. You just have to know what the way is, right? So yes. You can use PayPal Giving Fund. You can use another one is Mighty Causes. Okay. Mighty Causes. And now you can post that link. You go on Mighty Causes, create the donation page, and then they'll give you a link, and then you can use that link and you can post it all on you can post it on your website, but you can also post it in your social media pages.
Okay.
Mighty Causes.
Okay.
So we create, by the way, your final project in the Founders Academy is to launch a fundraising campaign. So our cohort that's getting ready to graduate on April 4th, they're in the middle of their fundraising campaign project. So Mighty Causes is one of the websites that they chose to use, as well as there's another one. Oh gosh. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. If I think of it, I'll post it in the chat. But they're using those platforms as a free to low cost way to raise money for their organization. And they are going to host a virtual event and a live event. So events you can get sponsorships when you have an event, a live event. So think about a 5K. You guys ever seen on the 5K, they have the numbers on their shirts? Mm-hmm. So on their shirts, so you can tell the sponsor, they can be the number sponsor. And so when they put the numbers on their shirts, the runners, it will say like Coca-Cola and then the number. So that's like an example of an event sponsor. So we have templates in our template library for sponsorships. By the way, sponsorships is another form of stream of revenue if you are event-based. Some of you guys have really good events already. You host an event and you can get 50 people to turn out on your own right now.
Well, I'm going to refill out your form, Ty, and then I'll put down to try and qualify for the where you can help me pay for it in increments or something.
Okay, fun. Yeah, just select that option. Okay. Select that option. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys will get a link in the chat. Don't wait, start now. That's all I wanted to I really just came on here to say, activate. Paige, when you told me 10 years, my heart went into my stomach because you have such an honorable mission, right? Don't you guys do the hand clap if you guys think that? Yes. Is there anyone else who want to share what they want to do, their mission? Like we just figured out Paige and Michelle in just 10 minutes. Imagine what we're going to do in 8 weeks. Okay? Who else wants to share their mission or potential mission? You guys signed up for the right place. Anybody? Hands up if you want to come up on the virtual stage. Don't be scared. We're all friendly here. Okay, next up, Lyra. Lyra, is that your name? Lyra? You can unmute yourself. I think I can unmute yourself. Okay.
Sorry, I was struggling to unmute myself.
I got you. There you go.
Unfortunately, my computer doesn't have a camera. I'll try to connect an external webcam, but I'll go ahead. Originally from Cameroon, West Africa.
Yeah.
And I live in Atlanta. So while I was back home before moving here, I received this deposit in my heart to have an NGO to support young people to build different skill sets so that they can thrive when they grow up. This include like financial education for young teenagers. In fact, we want to start from primary school level. It also involves helping single moms, especially with skills and investing in their businesses, monitoring and supporting them with like business skills so they can have revenue to send their kids to school. Because I believe that once the mom is capable, the children tend to thrive more. Many dads are not as reliable as moms. We're just made different. So I started doing a couple of things like the trainings and sent like school fees for like 10 children. That was the past 4 years. Got it approved as a foundation back home. But moving to the States, I've been here 5 years now. It's just difficult to I'm in absentia and my parents have moved here to join me. They used to help me with reaching out to schools to find the children that need sponsorship and to find those moms who are struggling. That's how we got the list of people we worked with in the past. And it has always been self-funded, funded by myself. Moving here now, I registered a foundation, but I never used it because one, I came in during COVID, so I don't know the needs of this place yet. And two, so like funding, I can hear you. I can see you talking, Ty, but.
Let's pause. You created a nonprofit?
Yeah, yes. That was like 2 years ago, but I never.
We're about to take another field trip, guys. All right. Did you get the approval from the IRS?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know I paid some money and a friend helped me.
Oh, we're about to take a field trip. Remember I told you a guide star will tell you whether or not a organization is valid? Well, do you remember the name of it?
Good question.
If you don't know,
Be the light.
Be the light.
Be the light. Be the light. No, because I used a different name from the one back home and I never did any activities here with the one I created.
Okay. What city and state are you in?
When I created it, I was in Washington or
Iowa?
No,
Louisiana?
none of those.
There's a lot of Be the Light.
I didn't know where that many for that.
You see that? You see
Yeah.
how many there are? The reason why they're allowing it is because they're all in different states.
Okay.
They're all in different states. This is Ohio, Virginia, Kansas, Delaware.
Yeah, I don't see mine.
So yeah, you don't have an organization. I would tell you that even if you did pay the person and it was during the pandemic in 2020 or 2021, it wouldn't be valid anyway. The IRS requires that you file an annual tax return, which is that 990 that I just showed you. You have to file it even if you don't earn any income. You have to file it. There's an easy way to file it, but even if you don't earn any income, you still have to file it. And if you don't file it for 3 years, they will automatically revoke your 501c3.
That must be it.
That's called auto revocation. It can be. I just did a renewal. I just did a revocation renewal application this week, so it can be reinstated. But if you did not do anything for 3 years, it wouldn't be active anyway. So you have to start from scratch or have it reinstated, which I just did for someone. And now they're in the CEO Academy for April.
Okay. My main question
I can't work with you either.
Right.
You either have one or like Michelle, Michelle, we said we gotta verify. What's the name of your organization, sweetie? We're gonna make sure.
It's called the White. Can you hear me?
White, WHIT?
WYTE Foundation.com. And that's our website. Okay, the White Foundation. That's our 501c3. There's a bunch of white foundations.
I'm gonna just put the white.
Ours we started in Delaware.
What year did it start? You said
December
it was in Delaware?
2024. December 2024. So we just started it, and we did get our 501c3 approval.
It's not yet. It's not in here yet because you just did it. Okay. So here's what you're gonna need to do by May 15th. This is why even if you didn't come on here for just this information, go ASAP. You need to file.
Do what now? It broke up.
You got to do this ASAP. You're gonna file your 990 e-postcard. That's what it's called. You can do it on IRS website for free. Remember, I said make sure you're on their website, IRS. If you don't say irs.gov in there, then you are on the wrong website. Because as you can see, there are places that will file for you, but you have to pay them. E-file, all these other places, you have to pay them. No, IRS is free.
It's called a 990 card.
990, yes, e-postcard or 990-N. It's the same thing.
And go to the IRS website to file that?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's going to take you to pay.gov. It's going to take you to pay.gov, and you have to log in with your ID.me, or you can go straight to pay.gov if you want to.
I want to go to the free site.
Yes, pay.gov. It's government. You want government. So, no. Pay.gov is to file the 501c3. No, what you want is to file your 990N. That's directly on the website of the IRS. That's the free one. This is free too. But yeah. Okay, now back to Lyra. You have, so we definitely just verified that even though you paid somebody to set it up, it's not set up.
Yes.
And so as a result, that means you will be starting from scratch.
Yes. Do I need to create, since the NGO I have back home is still active, do I need a separate one created in the States if I'm supposed to get grants and donors from the States?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
What you want to do is create your US based nonprofit. And then if you have a NGO and it's up and running and legal, it's easier to move money from your nonprofit US based to a nonprofit or an NGO overseas. It makes it a lot easier. And if you do not have it set up that way, that's okay. You can easily do that when you go home. But just know that um, it's heavily regulated when money is being sent overseas. So it's easier is if you are buying the materials and from here. If you're buying, like say you're buying something from Amazon or something like that, but if you're paying for it here and you're having it shipped there, that's a different story. But if you're paying for services, it's so much cleaner to do B2B when you're business to business than if you're trying to pay an individual, because that could look like, collusion and all that other stuff.
Laundry, yeah.
And laundry. So you want to make sure that it goes to a person, to a business that is a legal business there. And I'm saying this to you because of the high regulations that we have on NGOs and on money leaving out of this country going to NGOs. And just from me knowing, dealing with so many West African countries and NGOs in those countries. So I look forward to working with you. I would love to make an impact there if I could. So of course, everybody who succeeds on this call becomes then a part of my story, and my story just keeps getting grander and grander. And I plan on that cemetery being so broke when I get there, because I am not going to give it any of my treasure. I'm leaving it all out here. I'm leaving it all out here. So I would love to partner with you. All right. So make sure that you sign up. Janine, post the form again. If you did not fill out the form, make sure you fill out the form so that we can have, thank you, so that we can start working with you and work on how we're going to pay for it later. But we're going to make sure that you at least get the information on what you need to do next. All right. Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I don't have a question. Yes, hi. I don't have a question. I just really, I don't know where I want to take, I just wanted to get started to get some information. This has been very enlightening. And I'm definitely going to take this in, because I'm on the ground floor right now. So I haven't put anything together. Like I said, I just wanted to get some general information, and this has been great. And just wanted to thank you for all of the information and the participants that have shared their stories as well as yours, because it was quite interesting. So just looking forward to getting off to a good start, because I want to stay legal. So that's a big part of it. And, just I want to do it right. So this is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the encouragement. Thank you guys for the encouragement in the chat. Okay, Elisa, I have to talk to you. Elisa, come on up on the stage. Next, unmute yourself. You've made a comment in the chat.
Hey, yeah, I am in the process of starting something called Casey Kismet. I've been a social worker for about 13, 14 years now. I started off my career doing education and prevention with youth on healthy relationships, worked in domestic violence for 3 years, and then youth homelessness for 3 years. And I want to start something called Casey Kismet that will essentially reteach people how to date more appropriately. The idea of it is to host 6 to 8 week dinner parties and cute little upcoming spots in Kansas City. So it can romanticize the process of falling back in love with yourself to be healthier in your relationships and discuss like the need for
Oh,
communication
so
and
cute.
like how to break up appropriately. And
Oh,
then like
wow.
there's also going to be offs like little opportunities to like work on credit and then understanding like the impacts of like addiction in families and like mental health and stuff. Like I want to partner with like other organizations so like we can have conversations around a dinner table versus feeling like you're going into a clinical space. I want it to be like an
Oh,
in between of
wow.
like wanting to get help, but not necessarily feeling like you're in a domestic violence relationship, but something feels unhealthy or like you want to better yourself. Um,
I see now why you say you're struggling between whether you should do a 501c3 or a socially conscious business, which I do see this as a socially conscious business for two reasons. The benefit is for the person self, so it's a self actualization, and it benefits them to. So the greater good is always the word, the buzzword for how do you know whether or not it's a 501c3 for the greater good. Now, here's how it will shift to a 501c3. This particular target group that you're looking for, because right now the target is pretty broad. If you targeted recently divorced or formerly abused, or and you added the education component, the event component, and other resources to help them get out of or stay out of abusive relationships and how to get into healthy relationships, now you're changing the mission to focus more on now it's a greater good. So it
yeah,
really just depends. It's really a small tweak that you will have to make in order to make it a 501c. This is why opportunity, not my, okay, I'm telling you why I have two, a for-profit and a nonprofit. So on the for-profit side, we had these workshops that we will host where young people who want to become like DJs and music producers, and these are people who are in affluent communities.
yeah,
The thing is, they didn't have a need, they just had a lack of access to these programs because even though they had the means, there wasn't anyone providing the tools. So we created Knox Education as a way to target that demographic. And it was not a 501c3, but it was still mission focused because it was about giving kids access to a program that was very hard to get access to, regardless of if they had the money or not. Now, Opportunity Knox, we target regions, areas where the arts have been taken out of schools, places where the access to the arts are very little to none, where they have no drama program, no visual arts program, like very little to none. And we bring the program in, and for a very minimum or free cost, make that program accessible to that community. 501c3. You see the difference? We're doing the same exact thing.
well, and that's kind of because the whole intention is to be mixed income, mixed demographic,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is like people are getting divorced at different ages.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need healthy relationship support. I needed that for my kids that I was working with that were like 16 to 21. Like working in the domestic violence shelter, I was in a more affluent area. Kansas City splits between KCMO and KCK. And I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in Johnson County. So Johnson County is the more affluent side on the Kansas side.
Mm-hmm.
And like the amount of abuse that was hidden because people did have more money and
Mm-hmm.
because like that area really likes to lower it's like that community really sees itself as being like a safer area.
Mm-hmm.
um when like working in victim services, that's not true. Like
Right,
I worked
right.
in service
Now I know
industry.
that.
Yeah, like that is not the reality of it. And so that's kind of where I've been trying to figure out because like I know with a 501c you need to have a board of directors,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
when you have your own business, you have more of the ability to create things and change it and tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the intention was to start the socially conscious business and then grow a nonprofit out of it once
Yep.
those systems are better in place. And
Yep.
eventually it probably will end up in turning into another housing program because like our area, I mean, Kansas City is rated as one of the worst places to date in the US.
Wow.
It's
I didn't know that.
terrible.
Well, I've been married for 20 years, but
It's been, and I've been
y'all
doing
tell
2
the
years.
single people, tell me what the streets is saying. Is it hard
Well,
out there, single people? Is it that
it's,
hard?
yeah, it's been tough, especially because we've got a lot of folks influxing from like California and like other places where it's more expensive to live.
Oh, yes.
So now our housing is starting to get out of control, which I have a theory that it's increasing domestic violence rates in the area because people are moving in quicker. They don't have as much access to leave. Like I'll eventually go back to graduate school and probably get my PhD.
Oh, wow.
But
wow.
that's like the
Okay, so
eventual
yeah, you said
goal.
a lot. You said a
But
lot, but you hit it right on the head. Starting it as a socially conscious business, well, you can, while you tweaking the business model, you could start generating income the way you feel like you need to on that side. But ultimately, the mission side of that business is going to sprout out. And when you do, that's when you'll need your 501c3, because there are going to be people who need your services who can't afford your services, right? And so as a result, you're going to need that arm of your business. Now, fortunately, but unfortunately, for Knox Education, we started Knox Education first. Then on Opportunity Knox side, the need became so great that it became consuming. We could no longer sustain a for-profit company. We started getting more grants and donations for the nonprofit to the point where now my husband and I were able to work full-time in the organization with a full-time salary. So it became all about those who were in need. However, I had this burning desire to grow a business. I am a business, like the starting of a business just invigorates me. I love starting businesses.
Well, that's where I struggle at, is because I don't know business. Like I know how to work under a grant and I know how to work off of tips. So like that has been the thing, is so for the last 2 years, I've been helping like friends, I've been helping neighbors, I've been helping the process. And that has been the difficult part,
It might actually
is
benefit
like
you to even go through the Founders Academy, because during that process, we grow you from being a founder to a CEO. And just building out the systems to see how we built the systems out for you guys. By the way, by the time you guys graduate, it will look like you've been in business for 15 years, because the systems, the foundation, when I go to your website, it should look like you've been in business for a long time. It shouldn't look like you just pop something up and you got your product there, your service there, and that's it. No, it should look like you've been in business for years, and your social media pages should look the same. It mimic your website, the professionalism of it. I'm a stickler for professionalism when it comes to how it looks on paper. So, and how it looks online. So it's important for me to, when I look at it, before I hand it over to you, I'm telling my vendors, hey, I need for this website to look a little bit. So that's why I'm the middleman between you and even the person who does your website for us. I don't do we have vendors that handle all of that and put all that stuff together for you guys. But look, I honestly, someone asked a question in the chat. Lyra asked a question about the transparency of the CEO founder system. Let me tell you, you can be yourself. As a founder, it's important that you are able to talk to other people who are also founders and CEOs or becoming a CEO, because your question won't seem dumb. It won't seem like a dumb question, because you guys are all in the same boat. So then if you're saying, let's say we're having groups discussion and you're saying, I'm not sure what business model to use. Well, of course, you're not going to say that if you're in front of somebody you're about to hire, right? You can't talk like that when you're around people that you're about to hire, because they have to feel secure that they're coming into a business that knows what they're doing. But if you're in a cohort with other people who are just saying, like, look, we're just trying to figure it out. Well, no, you don't have to try to figure it out. I've been in business for 18 years. Ms. Iris been in business. How long you been in business, Ms. Iris? Like 10 years?
Yeah, we're 10 years old.
Yes. You know, all of our other partners have been in business for at least 8 is the youngest, up to 2025. And then our senior advisor, so I have a senior advisor who's been in business for 55 years. It's important to be around in the room. You ever heard people say, just get in the room, just get in the room? There's a reason why you should be in the room with other like-minded individuals. It helps you to level up, number one. Because you see what they're doing in Kansas City, and then Detroit say, wait a minute, we can do that in Detroit. And then they say, wait, you can do that in Detroit. Maybe we can do this in Kenya. And it starts to spark these fires. And now, I told you guys earlier, I think I got cut off earlier, but this current cohort, they're in 2 different states creating a summer program for this summer, by the way, which starts in 2 months, with a grant that one of them will win and they will collaborate on. Wouldn't that be awesome if you met somebody in the cohort who does a complimentary service? So Paige creates gift packets for those who are undergoing treatments and things like that. Well, let's say there's someone else in the cohort who is working with the kids of patients, because the kids are affected in a different way. You guys connect. There's a big web, and if I'm trying to tie as many of these connections as possible. And that's how we're going to make the bigger impact, because the dollars are going to the same organizations. And honestly, like, we're in that bucket. I understand people say, even to us, like, you guys are always getting the grants. I know that we do. And that's why we sub-hire from we call it the little guys, right? So we get millions of dollars in grants, and you may not get any, but we will bring you in to fulfill some of the services. So that way we all get the grant. I don't just get the grant, we got the grant. You hear me? I'm not making $500,000 a year off of this thing. My salary for the organization was $79,000. So, I mean, I wasn't getting rich off of it. That was $1 million. That was the one I just showed you, was almost $1 million. My salary was $79,000 out of that $1 million. So where did the other $900,000 go? Out to you. All right. So I am 13 minutes over. I have never gone this far over. Guys, you guys are pulling from me. Like, you are so hungry for the information. I love it, but I am hungry. I have not eaten today.
I got just one last question, though. Can I just ask one quick question?
Okay, this is the last question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Otherwise, you guys sign up for the academy. Just sign up for the academy. We'll figure everything out later. That's for those of you who like, I'm tired of Paige. If I don't see your name on that form, I'm calling you. You're going to see a 404 number. I'm calling you, Miss Paige. I'm calling you. We are not going another 10 years. All right, Miss Deborah, go ahead.
Are we going to get a copy of the recording?
Oh, you guys want the recording? I was sure. Yes, we just finished. I'm about to stop recording now because we just finished. But